I still have trouble wrapping my head around it sometimes. My soon-to-be ex-wife Lisa and I are technically still married, but only because of the legal system. Where we live, you have to be separated for 12 months before you can actually get divorced, which honestly just feels like dragging out the inevitable at this point. During this so-called cooling-off period, she was supposed to find her own place nearby to make 50-50 custody of our 3 kids easier. Why are we getting divorced? Well, Lisa's twin sister Sarah came up with this brilliant idea that Lisa should be their surrogate. Sarah and her husband Kevin have apparently been struggling to have kids. I get it, that sucks for them, but instead of, using a regular surrogate or adoption, or literally any other option, they decided that because Sarah and Lisa are twins, Lisa was the perfect choice to carry their baby. The worst part, I didn't even find out about this plan until way later. Turns out this had been in the works for weeks before I even caught a whiff of it. It wasn't like they sat down with me to have a proper conversation. No, that would have been too logical. Instead, Lisa just kind of casually mentioned it to me one night like it was no big deal. I remember exactly how it went down. We were sitting on the couch, and she just came out with it. "So I've been thinking about doing something really important for Sarah," she said, scrolling on her phone like we were just talking about what to have for dinner. At first I thought she was joking. I let out this half laugh, waiting for the punchline, but she just kept looking at me like she was expecting me to be happy about it. "Wait, what?" I sat up straighter. "Like, you're gonna carry their baby?" She nodded, smiling like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Yeah, Sarah and Kevin have been trying for so long, and since we're identical twins, it's practically like Sarah's carrying her own child." I stared at her, trying to process what I'd just heard. "And you didn't think to mention it to me?" Lisa sighed, setting her phone down. "Grant, this isn't about you. It's my body, my choice. I don't need permission." "Permission?" "Lisa, we're married. This is a huge decision, one that affects both of us. How could you not talk to me about this first?" "Oh, great. Now, after you've already made up your mind. That's not how marriage works." Her expression hardened. "Look, I knew you'd react like this. That's why I waited. But this is happening, Grant, whether you support me or not." I let out a breath, shaking my head. "So that's it. Either I get on board, or what?" And there it was, the ultimatum. She didn't say it outright, but the message was clear. Get on board, or get out. I couldn't believe it. It wasn't just the surrogacy itself that bothered me, though. Yeah, that was a huge part of it. It was the fact that this had all been planned, behind my back. Lisa, Sarah, and Kevin had been scheming this whole thing for weeks, maybe even months, without even giving me a heads up. And now I was just supposed to be cool with it. I looked at her for a long moment. "If you go through with this, we're done." I laughed, but it wasn't out of amusement. "I'm being unreasonable? Lisa, you're literally making a life-altering decision without even considering me. You don't think that's a problem?" She shook her head, exasperated. "I'm doing something beautiful for my sister. I thought you'd understand." Fast forward a few months, and guess what? She's pregnant. When Lisa told me, I just nodded and said, "Okay," then walked out of the room. 2 days later, I filed for divorce. I had this drafted the same week that my wife told me about her plans. I just waited for her to act on her plans. Apparently, this shocked everyone. Lisa acted like she didn't see it coming, which honestly blows my mind. Like, did she think I was bluffing? That I'd just magically get over it and be okay with my wife being pregnant with someone else's kid? I told her exactly what would happen if she went through with this, and now she had the nerve to act surprised. Sarah and Kevin weren't any better. They tried guilt-tripping me into staying, throwing every cliché in the book at me. "You're abandoning your wife," Sarah said, shaking her head like I was some heartless monster. "She needs your support now more than ever." Kevin, always the diplomat, tried to soften the blow. "Grant, this is a beautiful thing she's doing for us. Don't you see that?" "Oh, I see it," I said, crossing my arms. "I see that you two wanted a baby, and Lisa decided to carry it. Without even talking to me first. That's not a marriage. That's not a partnership. That's just a decision she made. And now she gets to deal with the consequences. And she vowed to respect me and not make life-changing decisions behind my back," I shot back. "So here we are." And that was that. I filed the paperwork and the separation officially began. At first, Lisa acted like she didn't care. She kept that same self-righteous attitude like she was above it all. "I don't need you," she said one night after I told her I was done discussing it. "I can handle this on my own." But as the months passed, reality started catching up to her. Suddenly she wasn't as confident. She wasn't as in control. After I filed for divorce, the tension in the house became unbearable. Lisa started acting like nothing had changed, like I was still supposed to care about her pregnancy, or worse, like I should be involved in it somehow. Meanwhile, I had already mentally checked out. Why would I invest energy into a pregnancy that wasn't mine? A pregnancy that was the exact reason we were splitting up. She didn't move out, of course. Finding a place in our area wasn't easy, especially not while pregnant. She kept saying she wanted to stay close for the kids' sake, but let's be real, it was more about convenience for her. Every time she needed something, she still expected me to act like her husband. She sighed like I was being unreasonable. "Grant, come on, it's just a quick trip." I finally turned to face her. "Lisa, I'm not your husband anymore. Go ask Sarah or Kevin to do it." Her jaw tightened, but she didn't say anything. Instead, she turned and walked away. As the weeks went on, she started dropping more and more hints about how hard everything was, how stressful it was, how much she had to do alone. At first, I just ignored her. I mean, what did she expect? That I was going to swoop in and save the day like I had during her previous pregnancies? Those were our kids. This was entirely her and her sister's decision. I didn't sign up for any of it. Eventually, the hints turned into outright complaints. "I don't know how I'm going to do this without you," she said one evening. Rubbing her belly like that would somehow make me care. I stood up and said, "I don't care if you slept with your child's father or if you cheated. You disrespected me by getting pregnant by another man. I warned you. I was against it, and there will be consequences. You claimed that it was your body, your choice. Now it is my life and my choice. This is your responsibility. Deal with it." "You're a heartless monster," she spat. "One day, you're gonna regret this." She stormed off, and for a second, I thought that was the end of it. But then, an hour later, she reappeared, a bag slung over her shoulder and the baby bundled up in her arms. "I can't do this," she said, her voice shaking. "Not with you acting like this." I just nodded. She stared at me for a long moment, waiting like she thought I might try to stop her. I didn't. 2 days later, Lisa left with the baby. I thought, finally, this might actually be the break I need. I wasn't naive enough to believe she was gone for good. But for a couple of days, the house was quiet. No crying baby. No guilt trips. No arguments. It felt like a weight had been lifted off my chest. But of course, nothing ever stays simple when Lisa is involved. The call started the next morning, first from her mom, then her sister. Yes, the same sister who masterminded this whole mess, and even her sister's husband. It was like they had coordinated a campaign to wear me down. Every single one of them had the same talking points. Lisa was overwhelmed. The baby was innocent, and I needed to step up for the sake of the family. Sarah, her twin sister, was especially relentless. She left a long voicemail, dripping with condescension. "I cannot believe how heartless you are, Grant," she said, her voice sharp. "Lisa just gave birth, and you abandoned her at the most vulnerable time of her life. Is this really who you are? Do you even have a soul?" I scoffed and deleted the message without responding. What was the point? This wasn't some surprise pregnancy that we had both signed up for. This was Lisa's choice, a choice she made without consulting me, and a choice I explicitly told her I wouldn't support. Then there was Kevin, the baby's biological father. He tried to play the sympathy card, his voice dripping with fake sincerity. "Man, things are really tough right now," he said over the phone. Sarah's still recovering from the accident, and Lisa's struggling. "We're all family, man. We should be supporting each other." I nearly laughed at the audacity. "Family?" I repeated, incredulous. "Are you joking? You barely lifted a finger during the pregnancy, and now you want to act like we're some kind of team?" "Try harder," I cut him off. "This isn't my problem. Step up and take care of your own kid." Then there was Lisa's mom. She's usually pretty reasonable, but even she was on Lisa's side this time. When she called, her voice was heavy with disappointment. "I just don't understand you, Grant," she said. "Lisa is still your wife, and you—" "No, she's not," I interrupted, my voice calm but firm. "She stopped being my wife the moment she decided to have another man's baby. If you care so much, maybe you should be the one helping her." I think that's when it finally hit her. I wasn't going to cave. A couple of days later, Lisa came back. I knew she would eventually, but I wasn't prepared for the scene she brought with her. She walked in like she hadn't just called me every name under the sun before storming out. The baby was strapped to her chest in one of those carriers. her face exhausted but defiant. I could tell right away she was gearing up for another round. "We need to talk," she said, standing in the middle of the living room like she was about to give a TED Talk. "This." She gestured to the baby like I didn't already know what this was. "You can't just ignore us forever." "I'm not ignoring you," I said flatly. "I've been very clear. This is your responsibility, not mine." That was all she needed to launch into another long-winded speech about how hard it was being a single mom, how unfair it was that she had to do everything on her own. She kept saying things like, "This isn't what I signed up for, and I never thought you'd turn your back on me like this." I sat there and let her talk. What was the point of arguing? She wasn't looking for a solution. She just wanted someone to blame. When she finally stopped, I met her gaze and said, "You signed up for this the moment you decided to carry their baby. Don't act like this is my fault." "You're being cruel, Grant. You have no idea what I'm going through. You think this is easy for me? One day you're going to regret this. I know you will." The baby started crying, probably because she was yelling so damn loud. She turned to me, snapping, "Are you just going to sit there? Do something." Her face turned red, and she stormed off to the bedroom, slamming the door so hard it rattled the walls. The baby kept crying, but I didn't move. If she wanted to scream and slam doors, fine. But I wasn't about to let her dump her problems on me. That night she tried a different tactic. Instead of yelling, she came into the kitchen while I was making dinner and played nice. She leaned against the counter, watching me cook, her voice softer, almost hesitant. She sighed, stepping closer. "I mean it, Grant. I still love you. I want us to be a family again." I scoffed. "A family?" I turned to her, raising an eyebrow. "This was a family. You threw that away." She even apologized, sort of. She said she was sorry for how things turned out, but she still didn't take any responsibility for her choices. I wasn't buying it. "That ship has sailed," I told her, my voice flat. "You made your decision. Now you have to live with it." She started crying again, her shoulders shaking as she choked out, "I don't want to get divorced. I can't do this on my own." I exhaled, already tired of the conversation. "You don't have to do it alone," I said. "You have Sarah and Kevin." But that wasn't what she wanted to hear. She didn't want their help. She wanted mine. She wanted me to swoop in and fix everything, just like I'd always done before. But not this time. I turned towards her and said, "You don't want a divorce, not because you love me. You got pregnant by a different man despite my warnings. That tells me a lot about your love for me. You don't want a divorce, because I give you a stable lifestyle. You just don't want to lose it. But take my advice. Get used to being alone. Get used to dealing with your mess alone. The divorce has been filed, and there will soon be a time when this lifestyle will be lost." That night, when I went to bed, I could hear her crying in the next room. I didn't feel good about it, but I didn't feel bad either. I felt nothing, and that's when I knew for sure it was over. Whatever love or connection we'd once had was gone. She'd burned it all to the ground with her choices. The divorce proceedings officially started, and that opened up a whole new can of worms. Lisa's lawyer tried to paint me as the unreasonable one, claiming I had abandoned her during a difficult time and refused to help with the baby. My lawyer countered with the facts. The baby wasn't mine, I had no obligation to help, and Lisa had made the decision to go through with the surrogacy despite my objections. It was messy, but I wasn't worried. The truth was on my side, and I had plenty of documentation to back it up. Texts, emails, even voicemails, I had it all. Every piece of evidence showed that Lisa knew exactly what she was doing, that I had been clear about my boundaries from the start. But even with the truth on my side, it was exhausting. Every time I thought I was done dealing with her drama, something new would pop up. Her family kept reaching out, trying to guilt me into making things right. Even Sarah and Kevin tried to mediate, as if they had any right to tell me how to handle my life. I ignored them all. I had spent enough time cleaning up Lisa's messes, and I wasn't about to start again. The divorce was long, messy, and exhausting, but in the end, I got what mattered most: the kids. The court ruled in my favor, granting me full custody, with Lisa getting visitation rights. It was a relief, but not a victory. No one really wins in a situation like this. It was just the best outcome for my children, and that's all I ever wanted. Lisa fought hard to paint herself as the victim. Her lawyer argued that she had made a selfless decision, that she had only done what she thought was best. But the court wasn't blind to reality. They saw what I had seen all along, that Lisa was unreliable, that she had made choices without thinking of the consequences, and that she had tried to use our kids as leverage to get what she wanted. Now, it's just me and the kids, figuring things out, day by day. There are challenges, sure. Single parenting isn't easy, but for the first time in a long time, our home feels steady and peaceful, and that's worth everything I had to go through. Through it all, one thing became crystal clear. I was done. Done with the guilt, done with the manipulation, done with the constant drama. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was finally in control of my own life again. And no matter how much Lisa and her family tried to pull me back in, I wasn't going to let them. This was my chance to start over, to rebuild, to focus on the things that really mattered. My kids, my own happiness, and a future where I wasn't constantly picking up the pieces of someone else's bad decisions. And for the first time in months, that future felt within reach. If you found this story helpful or relatable, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means everything, and I hope these stories can help others who might be going through similar situations. Remember, sometimes standing your ground is the hardest but most necessary thing you can do. Share this video with someone who might need to hear this message today.